So I didn't realize that there are apparently women involved in your human trafficking gang.
Because that's not what they wanted. They put me all over the news. They searched every house I own in the country with armed men. They were looking for victims of something.
Yes.
They were looking for scorned ex-girlfriends. Any woman to come forward and say that she was hurt by me. They were looking for real evidence. The fact that the case file is so laughable now is just because real evidence doesn't exist. So when you have no real evidence, you go for junk evidence. You try to make your case on human trafficking based on, well, they were nice to these girls on TikTok. And these are girls who would say to me, hey, share my post on Instagram. I'll be like, yeah, no problem. So, because I'm a big social media guy. I don't know a single person when I had Instagram, from my cameraman to my personal trainer, who didn't ask me to blow them up on Instagram. But that is now the link they have between me and these people, saying that they're human trafficked, even though these people, defend me. But there are two women involved, yes. My personal assistant and her friend got thrown in prison with me. Essentially, their crime was inviting one of the alleged victims to a birthday party that I wasn't even at, that happened in this house. That's how they tied them in.
How long were these two women in prison?
The same 92 days. The same 92 days. The worst, if you don't have the answer to their questions and you are being tortured, you can psychologically break. You have to be torturing people who do know the answer. And every week or so, they had the keys of freedom dangled in front of them. Are you ready to tell us about the Tate's criminal activities now? And they said no, and they stayed in prison. And the problem is, they can't have told the police about criminal activities that I take part in, because those criminal activities don't exist. Any notions of being angry at injustice and stuff that I truly have in my soul is for those two girls who went to jail with me. These are two wonderful people. But that's certainly what they would have wanted. It's not the fact that, as I said, the evidence is junk, because they now have to put a case together.
But I'm confused as to how what you're being accused of constitutes human trafficking.
Well, it's a very loose law. Have lived in this country for 10 to 15 years before I ever showed up here. But in a very loose way, they had to prove I was doing something with women by coercing them for my financial benefit, which is how we ended up with the TikTok story. Maybe they were looking for real evidence. They would have initiated this attack in the first place.
What do you think this is actually about?
I think this is about Andrew, and the way to attack somebody is through his loved ones. But what a way to get to Andrew than to throw his little brother in jail and say he's part of your gang. Adolf Hitler, you were allowed to talk about him during World War II and after World War II. The leader of Argentina during the Falklands War, Osama bin Laden after 9/11. Terrorists, school shooters, the 7/7 bombers who attacked the subway in London. You were allowed to discuss all these people in school. Maybe they don't want people like him opening his mouth.
What was it like being in jail with your brother?
And I was laughing in jail, and I'm laughing right now. We're both at our laptops a lot, we're on our phones a lot, we're on our devices a lot. And you have all the time in the world to play your stupid jokes, etc. I don't know if he's gonna be back in 10 minutes or in an hour. So I still don't see it as such a negative thing. And people will call me crazy. And we have ideas that conflict, and we debate because we're smart. And I really think it brought us closer together. Andrew would get a chocolate bar from some reason. I mean, like actual human traffickers. I'd go to court, and the policeman who would escort me would say, oh, they definitely got to let you out. So I met some very interesting prisoners. One of the policemen was telling me a story of after a day in court. They were very good people doing their job diligently. I think the Romanians really have nothing against me. I find it very difficult to believe that that was a Romanian idea, because it's not the kind of thing you would do. It was a law-abiding citizen, didn't hurt anyone. Romania has struggling hospitals, struggling orphanages, infrastructure issues, the pensions are a mess, the teachers need pay rises. They've made me feel welcome up until this point, and this has been my home country. But it didn't happen because I'm a human trafficker. Do you feel kidnapped, Tucker, here in my house? I challenge any atheist to walk around Romania. Also, the maternal grandfather of my daughter is an Orthodox Christian priest. We had one single room. My mother, my sister, my brother, and me. We left education at 16 years old, high school. And they made the decision together saying, well, look, the kids are British citizens, you're a British citizen, go over and live in England. We'll see if we can fix the marriage at some point in the future. Now, I believe that people will rally behind William in a way they have not rallied behind Charles. It depends how long Charles is the placeholder. But unfortunately, everything great about England is being destroyed. And the royal family is one of those institutions that I believe to be a great institution, one of the great things about England. It's the reason buildings are ugly. It's the reason they allow mass amounts of unchecked immigration of people from different cultures. If I say, no, Queen Elizabeth has these certain values and I'm British, so I'm going to have the same values as her. I know Americans who are illiterate. We had very little else to do than to, this is no joke. And we've agreed on things and disagreed on things. Yes. And that's a massive problem. Yes. For example, every single Romanian city and Romanian village has a little war memorial in the middle. Nobody knows that when Paulus's army approached Stalingrad,
I was about to say they died in Stalingrad.
So I don't miss it, and I'm very lucky that I'm in the position where, like with prison, I see good in every situation. So by definition, I can't miss it, because going back isn't an option. Amazing. I think it was about reparations in the United States. He looked at me and went, "We're broke, Tristan. If I want private space, if I want to sit by myself or, with my girlfriend or, I've got plenty of room to be alone." But he's always...
Why do people say it's weird to live with your brother?
Is not something the West pushes anymore. We've shared all of our resources forever, since we had no money to now we have a lot of money. Why shouldn't you mix family with businessism? And I don't want communism to come anywhere, neither do the Romanians. But Romania is a traditional society, a Christian society. Nuclear family is very, very important to them. How many drug addicts have you seen on the streets? They overthrew the president 6 years ago. But, I've seen some questionable people working in your daycares in the United States.
What do the women in your lives think of your relationship with your brother?
The only type of woman, they come around to it very quickly. We've had women try to get in between our relationship throughout our life. They thought I might roll on him to get myself out of jail. But you try to find weak links in a group. I have such high standards of what loyalty means because I have Andrew, that I expect absolutely nothing less from my friends. The most violent hit pieces can be made against me.
Why is BBC so single-minded in its attacks on you?
The TV licensing fee, the UK taxpayer. It is the government's propaganda brand. A journalist who likes Andrew would not be allowed to come here if he worked for the BBC and ask fair questions. It's run by the government. It purports the government's ideas, no matter what they are, and Andrew Tate is a danger to society for some reason. In a previous life, me and my brother used to run a streaming company, essentially, where pretty girls would stream online and talk to dudes online. There was some nudity involved. And it was a studio, essentially. The girls worked for my company. They had contracts to work for my company. The charges are that in 2021, I recruited friends of mine by brainwashing them to steal their TikTok money. If the police could have found a link between anything illegal and any business I've run, from my webcam studio to any company I've ever run, they would have put it in the case file. But I get why well-intentioned fans of mine will be like, "Oh, well, he was talking about this business he used to run. Is there any money that's been made in the case file?" There's money to be made, but that's simply not the case. I'm nice to people, and that's how I've kidnapped them, one way or another. That was the first thing the police took.
And you're sure there's no footage from within inside your house?
A whole year of CCTV from every single language.
So you said you would never sue the government of Romania, but it's news organizations that have called you a human trafficker.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to misinterpret that as a threat. You think if they drop this now and just say you're free to go, that's justice? 1.5 years I've been labeled a human trafficker. She used to be able to play with the kids in the neighborhood now. So I still had Instagram and Facebook until I was in jail. I posted photos of me in suits, photos of me with cars, with inspirational quotes. That was my Instagram.
On what grounds did Meta erase your account?
No grounds, and anybody can do anything about. I literally don't know what I could have possibly said.
How many American citizens have died from fentanyl?
I literally posted car pictures, usually with a line from a book that I like. And I think Elon could beat him, guaranteed, if he trained for 6 months, just to see roughly what I'm up to in life, my stories, where I'm chilling, what I do. And I'm Andrew Tate's brother, delete me. I won't let my kids have Instagram.
Do you think, since you spend a lot of your life thinking about communications, the media, social media, where are we in 5 years?
I believe it's the negative ideas from England and America that have certainly made this happen to me. If Romania are happy to, if important people in Romania, who I know speak highly of me, stand up and say, we're not going to publicly crucify this guy because America doesn't like him or because England doesn't like him. To say, look, we don't have to do everything you say. He is a warrior and he continued fighting. So now there is I don't even want to call it counterculture, but if you cancel people, look, they canceled Andrew. Now there are lots of different platforms lots of different apps, lots of different applications. This is unthinkable. 2 years ago, if you were to say, hey, Tristan, you'd be in jail for human trafficking. I have not been free since December 29th of 2022. Think of everything you've done since just before New Year's. I've been locked in a jail cell with criminals or locked in my house. Let me come here tomorrow with paperwork and show you. But when you take a man who is an international businessman, who has to travel, who has to meet people, who has to talk to earn his living, and you lock him in the way that I've been locked up, I don't even want to guess how much money this has lost me. But I need to just get my life back in order and also enjoy it. What does New York have that Dubai doesn't? So I think that and I'll give the credit to religion. They don't want their kids being taught immorality in the schools, and be assured of what's happening to your children, to your family, in your home, on your streets. And there are different places in the world, like America was, hopefully will be again, but certainly was in the 70s and 80s, when people from even this country right here, which was a shithole back then, wanted to go to America, see the Statue of Liberty, come across on a boat, start a new life for themselves, live the American dream. I feel like the dream of the West is dying. And people are just like, well, where can I live the dream? Nice, happy life, beautiful wife, healthy kids, good health care, safe. It's crazy that that's now the dream, isn't it?